Do you also want to be able to control your gear in strong wind? Well, today I want to talk with you about how to keep control of your gear in super strong winds. I made a tutorial about exactly that some years ago, so you can kind of see this as a reminder with some fresh ideas, which I got over the last years working with people from all over the world at my windsurfing experiences.
When I'm on the beach coaching, giving you feedback after each and every try, I can go into much more detail. But here online, I like to keep things clear and simple so you can easily memorize all the steps you need to take.
To get a written summary of this tutorial, you can leave your email address in the link below and you will get access to all my written guides. And to not hold you hostage, I'm going to start with the low-hanging fruits first. Things you can start doing right now and they have an immediate effect. And then we will finish off with the things you can work on in the longer term if you really mean business with windsurfing.
We're going to talk about step 1, the trim. Step 2, technique. Step 3, fitness, and step 4, mindset.
Oh yeah, and one more really important thing, we want to introduce new people into the sport and educate you. So reaching 100,000 subscribers one day would really mean the world to us. It's still a long way to go, but if these tutorials help you, please do subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything and will leave us a smile. Obviously, choosing the right gear is the first important step. We're now assuming you're already rigged on the beach and don't want to or can't change your gear anymore. Or perhaps it's just so gusty that you simply need to use big gear to be able to not only plane in the gusts. Here are 3 simple steps you can take immediately on the beach. Number 1, increase the outhole tension. So this will flatten the profile of your sail and therefore decrease the pull. Be careful not to flatten it too much, because this makes for an unstable sail and it makes every little drop in wind feel like the wind is completely gone. How much is too much? It depends a little bit on your sail brand and on the kind of sail. But if you feel a significant loss in stability, this is a sign you should decrease the tension a little bit. Number 2, longer harness lines. You will ideally use adjustable harness lines because this will significantly increase the wind range you're comfortable with. The critical point in strong wind is when the wind kind of pulls you over the center of the board. Then the sail will open too much, which kind of decreases the pressure on the mast base and in return will make the nose of the board climb. In very strong gusts, you might even get backwinded. Making the harness lines longer will help you to bring your weight further outboard. You have more leverage to close the sail and the distance to get pulled over the center of the board becomes further. So you kind of have a little bit more of a buffer zone. Just make sure to keep the weight in the harness and don't start transferring it all to your arms. Try it with the harness lines 2 to 4 inches longer than you normally would. Number 3, lowering the boom. Another simple way to control strong wind is to lower the boom a little bit. It'll help you to keep more pressure on the mast base once again, which pushes the nose of the board down. However, you need to be careful because having it too low, this can create a lot of downforce, which makes the board push too much water. And this can make controlling strong wind even more difficult. So about chest high is typically a good boom height in strong wind, given the rest of your sail trim is correct. Now, obviously there are more different ways to tune and trim your sail for strong wind, but these are kind of the 3 first aid ways to get the sail under control. So here I have 3 simple pointers which you can immediately try out next time you're overpowered on the water. Push the hip outboard. This advice ties into the longer harness lines. Once your harness lines are slightly longer, you can essentially bring your hip further outboard. This increases the leverage you have to counter the pressure of the sail.
You'll want to only bring your hip outboard and keep your upper body close to the rig. Bringing your upper body outboard increases the lift you create, which is a great technique for light wind, where you're essentially doing exactly the opposite, hip up and upper body outboard.
The simple way to think about this is to engage your abdominal muscles as much as possible, basically as if someone punches you into the stomach, leveraging your weight correctly. Now that you learn to create more leverage, you just need to know how to use it in the right way. If you're doing step 1 correctly, step 2 should naturally happen anyways. But I'll explain to you how to play with that. Sheeting in and transferring your weight through the harness and the harness lines into the sail can have different purposes. On one hand, it helps you to sheet in and close the sail. And on the other hand, you can use it to keep the board connected to the water, especially when gusts or chop try to lift up the nose. And the key is to pull the harness lines down instead of just outside. And this goes hand in hand with bringing the hip out. So you're kind of going from this position to this position. You're making yourself small, you're pulling the harness lines down, and you kind of want to sit down in your harness. This obviously works best with the seat harness, although the seat harness brings quite some other disadvantages. So the best is to use a waist harness, which really fits your body and doesn't kind of move up but sits in position. And lastly, this is something I keep repeating to the guys and girls who join my experiences: be aware of what happens around you. Now, of course, it takes some practice and experience, but being able to read the gusts on the sea will help you to adjust to stronger gusts before they even happen. So look in front of you and also slightly upwind so you can see when the wrinkles and foam caps increase. This is definitely worth its own video, for which I have gotten a request before, so be sure that's on our list. Back during COVID time, I once made a home workout routine, which we will link for you below this video. So therefore, I'm going to keep this short and explain to you what you want to aim for. Windsurfing is a sport which requires the full body to be fit. If you used your fitness watch during your sessions before, you'll know that we spend insanely much time in high heart rate zones. So the best workout for windsurfing is obviously windsurfing. However, a good training can be a great complement, especially for the times you can't get on the water.
In terms of endurance, you'll want to improve your basic endurance, for which you will do longer running, biking or rowing training at 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. But you'll also want to work with interval training, where you push yourself to almost maximum heart rates.
In terms of muscles, you want to stabilize your core, on one hand to keep your gear under control, but on the other hand to avoid back injuries, which are quite common for windsurfers. But once again, this definitely deserves its own video. And lastly, I promise to keep this short, your mindset is really important. If there's one advantage of doing a sport out in the nature, it's the things it teaches you about mindset. So firstly, stay humble and don't overestimate your abilities to control extreme winds. Find your ways into stronger winds step by step and don't start on the gnarliest day of the year. Second, trust the training process. Windsurfing is a sport which takes really long to master, so don't get frustrated if something doesn't work after 2 sessions. And third, enjoy every moment out there, because if you have fun doing something, you'll keep on working on improving while having the best time of your life. And this is something that windsurfing can definitely give you. And with that said, it's time for you to put these things into practice. If you want to windsurf with me, check out my windsurfing experiences, linked below. And if you're looking for new gear, consider checking out my shop, either online or start a WhatsApp chat, so we can give you the best advice. Looking forward to see you in the next one.